Late one Monday night, I was driving back home after visiting a friend. Although the night was beautiful with a full moon illuminating the road, I always felt uneasy driving so late. The road had numerous twists and turns, passing through cliffs and forests, making it a nerve-wracking journey at night. Halfway back to my house, my car suddenly stalled. I managed to coast into a nearby store's parking lot. Usually, my car would start after a short rest, but not this time. To my dismay, my cell phone had a dead battery, leaving me stranded in the dark. I decided to walk to the nearest house, despite being unsure of the reception I'd receive. As I started walking, I saw headlights approaching. Relieved, I tried to flag down the car, but it passed by without stopping. Moments later, I heard a horrifying crash, and I rushed towards the sound. With a flashlight from my emergency kit, I searched the area but found no trace of a car or any signs of life. I tried calling 911, and thankfully my phone came back to life. As I spoke to the operator, I could hear faint cries for help from below the cliff. I assured the person that help was on the way. It took some time for the police and paramedics to arrive, and all the while, I heard the man's faint cries. However, when the rescue team searched the area, they found no evidence of any accident or injured person. The police didn't believe my story, thinking it was a prank, but one officer understood and shared a haunting tale. He explained that a similar accident occurred in the same spot a year ago, and the passengers, a husband and wife, had passed away due to their injuries. He had received similar calls before, all turning up empty. Though the officer didn't press charges, I felt haunted by the man's voice as I drove home, leaving the mysterious incident behind me. I was driving back to my mother's house in the late evening, and the forested area was quite eerie with no streetlights around. Suddenly, I spotted something on the road up ahead. It looked like a baby wrapped in a blanket. My heart raced, and I stopped the car to investigate. As I got closer, I realized it was just a toy baby. Relieved, I picked it up, but my relief turned to fear when I saw headlights approaching. I hurried back to my car, worried about being alone on the dark road. The car behind me started tailgating aggressively, and panic set in. I drove faster and faster, constantly checking my rearview mirror. The car kept chasing me, and I felt so vulnerable. When I reached my mother's long, dark driveway, the car was still right behind me. I decided to call my mother, and she promised to call the police while I drove towards the house. As I approached, my heart sank. The car behind me turned into the driveway too, still uncomfortably close. I finally saw my mother standing at the front of the house with a kitchen knife in her hand. I rushed to her side, and at the same time, an elderly couple got out of the pursuing car screaming, "Someone got into your car." As I was realizing what had happened, a man jumped out of the backseat of my car and ran into the forest. We were all shocked, realizing what had just happened. The person in the other car had seen the whole thing and decided to follow me to help. I was thankful for their intervention, but it was a chilling reminder to always lock your car doors when you step out. Looking back on that evening, I couldn't shake off the creepy feeling and the realization that someone had taken advantage of my kindness. It was a lesson learned, and I'll never forget to be cautious, especially in isolated areas. Once, not too long before I graduated, I attended a friend's graduation party. Later that night, around 10 o'clock, I headed home. My place was about 35 miles outside of town, with 20 of those miles on dirt roads. I was in a good mood, enjoying the drive with my window down and the radio playing softly. As I was cruising along, something caught my eye up ahead. It could have been a coyote or an antelope, but suddenly, it darted across the road. I swerved to avoid it, but ended up rolling my Jeep into a ditch. I blacked out after hitting my forehead on the windshield. When I regained consciousness, I was upside down, bleeding from a forehead gash. It took me a moment to remember what happened. Then, the rotten smell of decay filled the air, and I heard snuffling and sniffing outside the Jeep. I recalled the horrifying creature I had seen on the road before the accident, a pale, thin figure with long, dangling arms, a tall head, and beady, glowing eyes. It definitely wasn't human. Panicking, I reached for my knife that I always kept with me and cut myself free from the seatbelt. Despite the pain in my left arm, I managed to crawl out of the window. The creature was scratching at the door, trying to get in. I stabbed its foot, causing it to shriek and flee into the darkness. My dad found me later unconscious near the overturned Jeep and rushed me to the hospital. Afraid of not being taken seriously, I lied about falling asleep at the wheel, but the strange scratches on the driver's side door left a mystery. For the following months, strange tales circulated in town. Ranchers reported mutilated cattle, and people claimed to have seen weird lights and heard eerie noises. They even spotted strange eyes in the night. The elusive thin man became the talk of the town. But after a few months, all the reports stopped, and the creature just somehow vanished. Ever since that night, I vowed never to drive at night again, haunted by the terrifying encounter that changed everything. Thanks for joining us on this spooky night ride with 3 bone-chilling true horror stories. If you enjoyed the thrill, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more terrifying tales. Until next time, stay brave and drive safe.